Well, primarily a lot of my work in the LGBT community has been to do with people living with HIV and AIDS. I first started really in 1986 when my very good friend and co-star Steve Tracy, who played Percival, the guy who finally stood up to Nellie and Mrs. Olsen on Little House on the Prairie. Steve Tracy was a wonderful actor and a really, really wonderful person. And we were very good friends, and he got sick in about 85 or so, and he decided to go public with his AIDS diagnosis, which at that time was not a popular thing. Rock Hudson did not reveal his diagnosis really until his deathbed. Many people, many famous people died, and the fact that they died of AIDS or HIV complications was only revealed after their death. People were not going on talk shows and talking about being HIV positive or having AIDS. But Steve did, and he went in magazines and on talk shows and talked very openly about being gay, being HIV positive, having AIDS. And this was a huge deal, and so my phone starts ringing because, well, it's 1986 and nobody knows anything, and people are calling my house going, oh, yes, AIDS, oh no, do you have AIDS? And I'm like, really? But people were terrified. And so that's when I signed up to volunteer at the AIDS Project Los Angeles was running the Southern California AIDS hotline at the time. And I signed up for the hotline and numerous other volunteer positions at APLA, the food bank, and everything else pretty much they had. And the hotline training was great because they have a whole multi-week training and you have to pass an exam. So it's a lot of information about the different drugs that were available, the testing that was available, all the medical technology of that time, state of the art, what they did have, and where people could be referred to for help, as well as basic skills on the phone, because we had people calling up who were terrified, who were like, I think I might have this, I don't know, my son just died, etc. And so they had to prepare people to handle these kind of calls. So during the course of this, I wound up on also their speakers bureau, and I went out to different places to talk about HIV, AIDS, everything from transmission and protection to what to do if your friend is sick, how to help your family members, what to do, basic knowledge, and how people could help. So I wound up all over the country, and I hosted a talk show actually on cable TV called AIDS Vision, where I interviewed different people about AIDS, everyone from doctors or people who are working, say, at AIDS Project Los Angeles to provide food and services for people with HIV. And so Steve died in 1986, but I continue to work all over the country and all over the world to some extent in trying to educate people about HIV and AIDS. And during the course of that, I wound up working for many other causes, of course, marriage equality, which has gone very well, and generally help out my friends. These are my friends. I believe that I'm one of those people, I'm fighting for the human race. There's an old saying, nobody's free till we're all free. I've always been a believer in that. Back in the 90s, when I was riding in the parade, in the Christopher Street West Gay Pride Parade on Santa Monica Boulevard, and I was awarded one year the George Moscone Award. It's a George Moscone Ally Award, and it is given to someone who may be straight, but is considered an ally of the gay, lesbian, bi, trans community. And Moscone, if you know, was the mayor of San Francisco who was assassinated along with Harvey Milk. In fact, George Moscone died trying to stop the killer from going down the hall and continuing shooting and assassinating his friend. He died trying to save his friend. And so that award is given every year to someone that they see has been an ally to the community. And I have that at home in my living room with my other little trophies and whatnot. So yeah, that's, as I said, I'm here for all humans. That's basically my belief. Well, my husband jokes that I first developed a gay following when I was a child and walked across the room and my father followed me. I grew up in an interesting household. My father was bisexual and my mother knew about it. This was their life. And so I was always around. I grew up in West Hollywood. I was born in Queens and raised in West Hollywood. So absolutely, I wasn't really around that many straight people growing up. So it didn't seem odd to me. Probably was 9 or 10 before I really realized there was a gay community as opposed to a straight community, that there wasn't just that people were divided up into these different communities. It was news to me, but there you are. So, of course, in 1986, at the peak of the first wave of people doing something about HIV and AIDS, I mean, my husband Bob started at AIDS Project Los Angeles in 1984. It's just a murder. I mean, they didn't know anything. It's like, what do we do? But when I saw what was going on then, it was so difficult for people. They hadn't passed the basic laws making HIV and ADA considered like disability. It was legal to throw people out of their apartments. It was legal to fire people from their jobs for being HIV positive. It was bad. People did not know anything. People were absolutely ostracizing their family and throwing people out in the street. So it was a very scary time. And I was one of the people who said, yeah, I think we should try to do something about this and help people. And me and my friends were doing that. And to me, it seemed completely normal. People say, why are you doing this? I say, why isn't everyone? People are sick, for God's sakes, and these are my friends. But as it went on, and it became apparent there were really a very small number of like Hollywood celebrities. This is pre-red ribbon days. I remember the first year they handed out the red ribbons at Oscars and Emmys, and people wouldn't put them on. There were several people who, oh no, I can't wear that. There's only a few people would actually wear. Now it's like, oh, the AIDS red ribbon, that's old hat. Do people still wear those? I remember people wouldn't wear them, tore them off and threw them on the ground because like, they wouldn't be seen. It was like, it's a big deal. It's crazy. But back then it was, Morgan Fairchild was one of the first people to step up and volunteer and do things. Elizabeth Taylor, of course, Madonna, and me. And Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers was there first. Joan Rivers, oh my God, it was like 1982, and she did a benefit, a thing called Can We Talk? And my husband's got the T-shirts in the basement. But Joan Rivers, it was a handful of people, and primarily women, who stepped up and spoke out and did something to try to help people. And so now when they start talking about, are you a gay icon? I'm like, okay, yes. See, that sort of combines, it's a weird juxtaposition. Okay, so I did all this work, to help people who were sick. But see, I also played this character, Nellie Olson, who, let's say, was somewhat camp. Okay, she was a lot. Okay, I was basically a drag queen. It was ridiculous. I had the thing with the curls and the dress and the puff sleeves. So Nellie was this very bitchy, Betty Davis, totally camp, Joan Collins, insane character. And a lot of gay people grew up watching Little House on the Prairie and went, yeah, I get that, Nellie Olson. And I found out how many people were huge fans of Little House and of Nellie Olson. And so, indeed, there was a gay following. Icon, I don't know, this is the word. I am told that I am a gay icon. I'm like, okay. Does that pay well? I don't know. I'll take it. But yeah, there's the gay icon that you're popular because of whatever album you put out or whatever show you're on, a character you played, and then there's gay icon because you did something, you raised money or you did a benefit, you did something for the community that actually benefited people. And I kind of have a little of both. Well,
be proud of themselves.
The younger generation, I have faith in our young people. No, I'm very impressed. Really young people, the people in their teens and early 20s, like people like 16, 20. Man, these are the kids who got their heads screwed on. Finally, it's like, smartness skipped a generation or something. When I run into really young people in their late teens, early 20s, I'm very impressed with how together they are and politically and activism-wise and just common sense-wise. Like, phew! But there are a lot of people who are still very terrified, but rightfully so. There's still like 30 states where there are no protections for gay, lesbian, trans persons. There's nothing. You can be fired from your job. You can be thrown out of your apartment. There are not protections. There is not, being gay or lesbian is not in federal law as one of the things you're protected for, like race, creed, religion. It's not. And it is on a state-by-state basis. And sure, if you live in New York and California, hoop-de-doo. But if you don't, it's state-by-state. You can absolutely be fired, discriminated against. It is not. You can go to court, and good luck. It'll take you a while because there is not a state law in most states. to protect people. So when someone says, well, I live in XYZ and I'm not out, well, they give bloody well good reason for that. There is still terrible discrimination. There are still people who don't understand and ostracize people for being gay or lesbian or transgender. They just don't get it. That's why we talk about community. That's why we talk about going out and finding your family of choice, if you will, your friends, your community, people who will support you and protect you and possibly refer you to a good attorney if necessary.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time and your dedication to the community.
Thank you.